When I was watching the film Call Me By Your Name, what struck me the most were the words the father said to his son at the end. Essentially, he said, "We rip out so much of ourselves to be cured of things faster that we go bankrupt by the age of 30 and have less and less to offer each time we start with someone new. But to feel nothing, so as not to feel anything, what a waste." Refusing to feel is often due to, you might say, external discipline. The virtues of gentleness, kindness, respectfulness, thriftiness, and humanity extolled in Chinese culture keep most people on a set path. The orderly nature of the system and the orderly conduct of the Chinese people form a stable state of mutual dependence. Unless societal conflicts reach an extreme, the cyclical inertia of history is almost unbreakable. The damage to suppressed personalities is almost impossible to heal. To this day, these traumas are still visible everywhere. Under the immense pressures of education, employment, and life, most Chinese people are encouraged from a young age not to explore their inner depths or experience the world, but to drain every bit of curiosity about the world, to smooth every edge, to suppress every emotion, in order to maintain their lifeblood, grades, jobs, and status. In doing so, perhaps by the time we're of age 40, we'll still fail to realize that we have already lost everything, despite our pursuit of winning it all. From the moment we are born until we're grown, life seems to be set on a predetermined track, and any deviation from it is seen as an overstepping. Because in the eyes of others, people are supposed to attend primary school at 7, university at 18, and get married at 30. When someone deviates from this path, others feel it is incorrect and should be corrected. Even in the prime of youth, to enjoy a beautiful love is considered a shameful thing. The sexual shame, emotional suppression, and endless pressure of the Chinese people are not only the result of societal discipline, but also a self-protection mechanism that starts after generations of emotional denial, belittlement, and vilification. Suppressing feelings, refusing to feel, and then living a life that others want to see. For example, body image anxiety. As Taylor Swift said in a segment of her documentary, when you have the slim body that everyone is satisfied with, you won't have the curvy hips that everybody likes. But when you have the curvy hips, people say you're not slim enough. Trying to have no criticisms whatsoever from the outside, that's just fucking impossible. It seems that Chinese people have been bound by this anxiety since childhood, which then leads to a sense of shame, and subsequently, the closing off of their hearts. This anxiety is deeply ingrained, following us like a shadow, omnipresent. But its most cunning aspect is not just this. Its biggest conspiracy is almost completely cutting off a person's possibility of self-unfolding. Every person is like a seed of a tree, which has its own potential. One day in the future, if it can grow unrestrained, then it has the chance to realize its full potential as a seed, to spread every branch, bloom every flower, and grow into whatever it can. Apart from this mission of self-unfolding, everything else is secondary. Hegel said, in the very first glimmer of spirit, the entirety of history is contained. Indeed, from the moment we are born, we have the possibility to exhibit all our spirit and energy. When everyone does this, that is what people call history. This kind of self-unfolding requires a free spirit, but if excessive, can also backfire against the collective and the individual. For example, in the nearly 1 year I've been in Australia, I can also see that if the part of self-restraint in Chinese culture is absent, sometimes it won't be so wonderful. But interestingly, I saw a wonderful coexistence and balance of that in Taiwan. About 20 days ago, my girlfriend and I went to Taiwan to watch May's New Year's concert. Friends I met in Australia who also happened to be back in Taichung at the time. Thus, they enthusiastically hosted us, inviting us for meals and showing us around. Interestingly, another friend of theirs, whom we didn't know at all and was just a friend of a friend, also very kindly introduced us to local attractions, bookstores, and food in Taichung, exchanging contact information and offering help with any questions we might have. And he drove us the whole afternoon. When I first arrived in Taiwan, my hands were very dry, red, and cracked, looking very much like an allergy. I myself didn't think it was a big deal because, I think it's just dry skin. But when he noticed, he immediately started texting friends to find a nearby chemist and consult his partner who worked in a healthcare center about whether it might be an allergy or something else. Then he drove us to a chemist. Thanks to his and our friends' care, my hands got a lot better after a week. In reality, for a mere acquaintance, he didn't have to do all this, but his almost instinctive kindness and enthusiasm truly showed me the embodiment of the Chinese people I learned about only in textbooks before. After staying in Taiwan for 2 days, due to the fatigue of travel, we went to a massage parlor. The experience was so good and the service so hospitable that we decided to go for food therapy again before we left. Since we were in a hurry to catch the high-speed train, we hoped to start quickly. The gentleman in charge immediately arranged for the masseurs and prepared everything so we could start as soon as possible and not delay our journey. From entering the massage parlor to walking down the stairs to using the restroom, he took care of every little detail, trying his best to provide the best service. Even if he hadn't done all this, we would have paid for the service anyway, but his meticulous and detailed care showed us something beyond a simple transaction. Sometimes the inadvertent kindness and brilliance of others can bring joy and delight in its purest forms. Coming along with this kindness was a lively spontaneity. People in Taichung, regardless of age, were willing to chat with you, from a taxi driver who talked to us in Taiwanese, to the record store granny who shared photos of her daughter at the May's concert, because her daughter went to the New Year's Eve show as well, to the interesting old man born in 1949 who ran a handcrafted seal shop but was fond of Western pop music surprisingly, especially the Beatles and the Hotel California, to the independent bookstore owner who recommended books and chatted happily with us. I saw in them not only the traditional culture of gentleness, kindness, respect, thrift, and humility, but also their liveliness and vitality. Just like the streets of Taiwan, there's a trace of being run over by history, but without losing the bravery and the directness of youth. Modern and dated buildings go hand in hand, creating a peculiar and enchanting time and space. It's been over half a month since I returned to Australia, but my thoughts seem to still linger there, as if a part of me was left behind on every street, in the fireworks on New Year's Eve's concert, in Xun's singing, in a beloved book on a certain page. But all of this, like the brilliant fireworks at the concert, struggled vigorously, rushed towards us, and the audience stretched out their hands to touch them. But in a blink of an eye, they were gone, and the music ended. But I think those beautiful or terrible feelings, even if transient or fleeting, are like what May's the Fool describes. I have my dreams, my path, in the world of my dreams, even if it's all for nothing. This path of unfolding oneself is by no means in vain. The wounds received on this path are our most brilliant scars. Courage in my heart, facing my dreams, I'm willing to be the fool. May this be true for you and for me.